James Radio Show.
So how old were you, Chris, when you first decided to become a rent boy?
The first time I ever did rent was when I was about 16.
Yeah.
And it's just like carried on over the years, and like even now, if I was to asked if I wanted to do it for money, then yeah, it depends how skint I am, I suppose.
What sort of what sort of money would you charge?
Depending on what they want. If it's just masturbation, then maybe 10, 15 quid.
Yeah.
Oral sex, then it goes up. And obviously more for an all-night stay or whatever.
Yeah, how much for an all-night stay?
About a minimum of about 50 quid.
Yeah. So what sort of money do you make a week? I mean, do you make a lot of money a week, or...? Do you spend it all?
Well, I spend a lot of it enjoying myself.
Yeah.
And, like clothes, records, whatever.
Hang on a minute, Chris, for a moment. Can you wait there?
Yeah, fine.
OK, hello. You join us here. We start the programme tonight. We're talking about prostitution, and we're talking about it from the side of the prostitute. And we thought we'd also have a vote line on as well. So if you look at the screens, before I do that, let me remind you the phone number if you'd like to contribute to the programme tonight, particularly if you are against prostitution, all right? The number is coming up on the screen. There it is somewhere by our Wicked Willie. We'll be giving him away a little later. 0532 46 1000. You can ring us now, 0532 46 1000. A number of calls have been coming in this evening from people around the country. Mrs. Murray from Shipley in Yorkshire, who's 75, wrote in and said that Queen Victoria once said, take the prostitutes off the streets of England and not a woman or child will be safe. I don't know whether you agree with that or not, but give us a call. I'm talking to Chris at the moment. You're still there, Chris, are you?
Yes.
Chris, have you ever worked in a brothel?
No.
You
I've
haven't?
always worked for myself.
OK. I wonder how at home you would feel if somebody set up a brothel next to you. We decided to have a vote on that. The vote line number's coming up on the screen now. Would you agree to having a brothel next door to you or not? If you don't mind a brothel being next door, 0898 442 611. If you are completely against having a brothel set up next door to you, 0898 442 622. Start ringing those numbers now. All you have to do is ring the number as soon as you've got through. That has registered your vote. And letters, we have a number of letters in. We'll be getting to some more mail a little later on. And if you would like to write about any subject at all, this is the address to write to. Sally Potter from Hemel Hempstead wrote to us and said the BBC is supposed to be in dire straits financially. So how come they intend to give away thousands of pounds every day on Radio 1? Well, it's sort of way of buying listeners, I suppose. They probably need to do that. Anyway, Sally, thank you for that. That or any other subjects, you can write to us at that address. Now, Chris...
Yeah?
I mean, when somebody comes up to you, they approach you presumably in the street. Do you just walk around in certain areas or what?
Yeah, there's cruising areas, gay cruising areas that I've used. There's other places, walkways and that. And you're just looking about, and if you see somebody that's interested, I'll sometimes walk up, or they'll walk up to me and ask.
Have you ever been physically attacked or not?
Yeah, I have a couple of times. Just gay bashers walking the street, and they realise that there's a certain area that gay men cruise. And
yeah. OK, final question, Chris. I mean, with everybody getting absolutely paranoid about AIDS now, has that sort of curtailed your work or not?
Yes, it has. I do know within the gay circles that, like, businesses, like, slacking down. And people are a bit scared because they don't know what's happening.
OK, Chris, thank you very much indeed for your call. We'll be taking more calls from you a little later. Now with me is Isabel Kaprowski. How do you pronounce it, Isabel? Kaprowski. Isabel Kaprowski. Now, Isabel has been on the show before. Isabel is the editor of Forum magazine, which is a contact magazine for people who enjoy sex.
That's right. And also, of course, we get readers' letters. And we've had a number of letters from people who've been to prostitutes over the years. Would you like me to tell you more about it?
Well, yes, I was just thinking that your magazine, I mean, what would you say if somebody wrote to the magazine and said, I've used the services of a prostitute, does this make me an awful person? Or do you think a lot of people actually secretly do use them?
I think a lot of people secretly do. It's just that most people don't want to admit it. I mean, our attitude at Forum is as long as it's consensual, you're not sort of men raping women or women raping men for that matter, then what's wrong with it? Obviously, you've got to be careful about AIDS, but I mean, female prostitutes certainly are very aware and mostly use condoms for oral sex as well as for...
For oral sex
yes,
too?
oral sex as well.
Hence, of course, the flavoured condoms we give away on the
That's
programme.
right, yes.
Yeah. Do people write, do you think their sexual appetites have changed over the past years?
I don't think they've changed their appetites, but what has happened is they are probably more into fantasy because they realise that certain practices are more dangerous. So,
what sort of practices?
Well, certainly anal sex. I mean, that seems to be happening less with prostitutes now because both men and women are nervous about it.
Was that something prostitutes would have done?
Oh, yes, and still do. But even with a condom, it's the most risky form of sex. So now they're possibly imagining they're having anal sex when they're doing something else. The other thing we get a lot of is letters from men who want to be dominated or humiliated by a woman. And
Why are you smiling, Isabel, when you're talking about it? I mean, you're smiling.
It's because domination is often seen as being something that men do to women, but judging by our correspondence, it's much more to do with men who want to be tied up, beaten, put into women's clothes.
So having
spanked.
physically having sex is a sort of...
It's not part of it, really.
I see.
They get their kick from the whole build-up, you know, the fact they've got this strong woman who's perhaps dressed rather seductively, you know, corsets, you know, thigh-length boots.
That's very important.
Very much
I
so.
always think so, anyway. Yeah, so. And so do most of the crew, actually, judging by this as well. Do you think you would worry if a brothel set up next to you?
I think it would be wonderful. I've always supported
lying in your
brothels.
teeth.
No, I'm not lying in my teeth. When I was younger, before I was married, I always hoped that there would be brothels for women. And I'd nip off across there for lunchtime and
you
have
wouldn't you wouldn't mind doing that. Well, we have a male prostitute on the programme a little later, so I'll bear that in mind. Thank you for the moment, Isabel. Isabel doesn't mind a brothel being next to her. Can we put the vote line numbers up again before we go into our piece of film? If you would like to vote on that, I don't know whether we can get them up or not. No? Yeah, they're there, OK. If you do want to have a brothel next door to you, we'll pass the planning permission on if we can. 0898 442 611 is yes. 0898 442 622 is no. Ring those numbers now and we'll give you an update a little bit later on. Now, let's find out what the girls themselves think about prostitution.
Goes to town.
A lot of people think that prostitutes are in a trap, that they have to do that because they can't do anything else and they've got to do it.
No. I mean, I taught myself touch typing, I've got a clean driving licence. There's loads of jobs I could walk into.
How did you first get into this job?
It's about 3 years ago. Just short of money. The only thing I knew how.
You don't have any other sort of trade?
No.
Nothing you'd like to do?
There's lots of things I'd like to do, but it's just sorting my hours.
You're not worried about what you do in any way? Scared of what the consequences could be?
No, not really, because, like, if I don't like the look of a person, I just won't go with that person.
What sort of age range do the people in?
Oh, from 18 to 80.
Really? You've had a man of 80 back here?
I've had one 82, I think he's dead now, because I ain't seen him for a while, but I'm not surprised the way he went. Now it's like a fiddler's elbow.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a little jackrabbit. Bless him.
And you didn't feel disgusted at that, or?
Oh, no, he was enjoying himself. I mean, that's that same old story again. Who's going to look at an 82-year-old man unless he's got absolutely loads and loads of money and he's very famous?
What about an 18-year-old, though? You would think young guys don't...
A lot of them come round to see us to lose their virginities.
Really?
Yeah. Some of you don't get anybody more experienced in sex than us, do you? You always seem to find the virgins as well, you can sort them out.
Can you?
Yeah, very awkward.
Do you have a laugh about that afterwards? I mean...
No, it's nice. So I always feel privileged when somebody comes and asks me, says, I'm a virgin. I think, well, he's going to remember me for the rest of his life.
Do you ever get upset about what you do? I mean, do you ever sort of, when you're sitting on your own, maybe, suddenly reflecting on your life, thinking, God, what have I come to? Do you look at that?
It does sometimes, but, like, it's usually like that when I've had, like, a rough night. But, like, to me, it's just like going to work, clocking on. Sometimes I don't want to go, but then I know I've got to get ready, put my clothes on, get out there and just like blank my mind, work, come home, just go back to a normal life again.
Would you say that the people who use the services of a prostitute are all psychologically disturbed?
Oh, no. Nowhere near, no. A lot of the time it's convenience. I mean, blokes that are working, you know, they want the careers first, they don't want to go out and have the hassles of having a girlfriend or a wife. They come round.
Do people use you every week? I mean, regularly?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
There's a lot of blokes that, I mean, I've got to know them, I've got to know the problems, I've got to know the wives through them. They'll come and they'll tell me all the problems, and I say, how's the kids? Oh, great, you know, we've done this, that, and the other. They bring me things back when they go away from on holiday.
What sort of money can you earn a week doing this?
About 400 pounds. Just depends.
Well, what sort of things do people want to do when they get back here?
Quite a lot, just, it's mostly short times, you know, the married man that's just coming to see you for a change, basically. Just wants a change for his wife. And they're in and out.
They want what?
Just basic straight sex.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like they're being naughty.
Do you think that does their marriage good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah. OK, so that's one side of it. And what are the... I mean, I've looked around and there are all sorts of little bits and pieces in this flat. Whips and chains and canes. I mean, what do you use these for?
You've got to cater to everybody's needs.
46 1000. James Whale.
Now, if you were wondering, we actually changed the girls' voices there. It was probably a little bit unfair on them, actually. They didn't sound like that at all. Now, with me are Liz and Steve. Liz is a prostitute and has been for how long?
10 years.
For 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, Steve is Liz's husband. And I don't think a husband of a prostitute has ever agreed to talk on television before, as far as I can remember. Steve, you were quite keen to put your side of it. And I better ask, first of all, did you, when you first met Liz, know that she was on the game?
No, I didn't know. I was a night shift worker at the time. So not seeing Liz on a night was nothing strange to me, because I was working. I naturally assumed that she was at home.
So you'd been out with her?
Yes, we had, yeah.
You'd actually made love to her?
Yes.
Before you found out that she was on the game?
Well before, yeah, well before.
Now, most men would have freaked at that particular moment. What did you do?
Freaked. The time that she actually told me, we'd gone out for a night with some friends, had a good drink together, and on the way home, she sat me down on a bench that was on the way to where we live and explained what she did for a living. And at that time, I can honestly say that the first thing I did, I cried. For 3 different reasons, I think it is. The first reason was that I didn't understand what she was doing it for. The second was I didn't understand why I was with the person that was doing that. And the third reason was I was stuck right in the middle of the other 2 reasons. So,
when you made love to her the time after that, how did you feel?
no different to the first time.
None at all?
None at all.
See, people are going to say, oh, this guy's a pimp. I mean, you know, he's living off her earnings, or...
Well, people are entitled to other opinions, even if that's a load of crap. You know what I mean? I have been accused of being a pimp. At one time, I won't go into the situation that it was, but it was quite a serious situation involving certain members of the family.
I mean, you have your own job.
I have my own job, yeah.
You earn a reasonable living.
Quite a good living, yeah.
Liz doesn't have to do this.
No.
No.
No, she doesn't have to do that at all. But the reason that she's continued to do this is because she was doing that for 9 years before I met her. And her argument has always been that if I could earn the same wages that she could, that she'd gladly give it up. But unfortunately, that's impossible unless I was a...
You never thought about going on the game as well?
Not at all.
How would you feel if... We're going to talk to a male prostitute later, but how would you feel if he was doing the same job, Liz?
I'd be quite happy about it as long as he was getting paid.
I mean, when
if he slept with a woman
Yeah.
for nothing, just out, you know, because he fancied her.
You'd kill him?
Yeah. He'd never had sex again. But
What's your sex life like? I mean, the two of you, you spend every night bonking with, I don't know, how many men do you get through a night?
Not enough.
Not enough? How many men can you have a night?
Up to about 6 or 7,
Yeah.
or 8, I don't know.
And what happens when you go home? I mean, and he wants to kiss and cuddle and make love to you. Just say, oh, pack it in. Let's have a cup of tea.
He's usually asleep. It's usually Sunday afternoon we do it.
Yeah.
So we have children as well. We just haven't got the time. I mean, like a normal family. That's all we are, a normal family.
Why don't you give it up then? I mean, don't you think you'd be more physically attracted to him, or are you not physically attracted to him?
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
He is.
He's my man. But
Yeah.
I will not give it up because there's too many men rely on me.
They rely on you.
Yeah.
How do you mean?
I've got my regular customers. I've
Yeah.
got customers that they're handicapped. I've got customers that they're well in love with their wives, but the wives don't love them. They don't fulfil them. I've got widowers. I've got men that need me. That
Supposing
rely on
one of
me.
them falls in love with you and starts making a nuisance of himself.
I've had that before. I've either got to explain to them if, you know, that I'm happily married and they're a customer, and I'm quite happy to be the friend. If they're not happy with that, then fair enough. I've got to blow them out. I've got to stop seeing them. I've got to stop taking them.
What's the difference having sex with Steve and having sex with a punter?
I don't moan with a punter. I enjoy it with my husband. It's making love. It's not sex. It's making love. With a punter, I've got to put all the acts.
You're not frightened of catching some horrible disease or something?
Not anymore, no, I've had them all.
Thank you both. We'll talk to you a little later on. If you have any questions for either of my guests here, please ring us, excuse me, on 0532 46 1000. The vote line in so far, we've had 1,340 people phone in to say they wouldn't mind a brothel next door to them, pervert, and we've only had 583 people phoning in to say they'd be disgusted at having a brothel next door to them. It will go up, I have no doubt. We'll take a break.
Out support the James Whale Radio Show!
Hello, welcome back. Now, I was browsing through a magazine the other day, reading a very interesting article on prostitution. What's love got to do with it? And I suddenly thought that'd be interesting. And Allegra Taylor is the author, she's with me now, of this book. And you actually spent some time really getting in amongst it. That's a little cliche for you there. I hope you enjoyed that little cliche.
Yes, I did. I thought the best way to really research the subject was to be a fly on the wall. So I got...
You weren't so much a fly on the wall as a girl in the business, weren't you?
I worked as a maid, which is kind of a non-participant, helping out, making the tea, answering the door, you know, talking to customers and becoming quite close to the women that worked in the place and hearing their stories firsthand.
Did you have any preconceived ideas before you started looking into it?
Well, I like to think I was very open-minded, but I think everybody probably has prejudices and stereotypes of one sort or another. But they got so changed from my experience of working on the book. I came to respect and admire the women that I met a great deal.
Some of them weren't too pleased reading your book. Some of them weren't too pleased to actually see you coming along, were they?
Oh, the women all were, yes, and all the women that have read the book have liked it.
But in the early days, one of the stories you relate here, they said, we don't want another bleep, bleep, bleep journalist coming around here on your bike.
That was only one who ever said that, and she had every right to feel nervous. And journalists have got a bad name for trivialising things. But I think once I got trusted and accepted by the women who knew I wasn't going to sell them down the river, then I was given a lot of confidences.
Did you come away thinking that prostitution is something now that should be treated with a little more respect, that it should perhaps be given a protection under the law instead of being harassed by the law?
Absolutely. I feel that the first thing that needs to happen is for it to be decriminalised. The laws are very archaic, very unfair, and they make for a much more dangerous profession. If the women could have the protection of the law rather than always be hassled by it, if they could work together in flats instead of have to be isolated and marginalised on their own, and the whole idea of a good brothel well run is something that I would certainly approve of.
Now, one story that you relate is where you were in a sadomasochist brothel, parlour,
yes.
as a maid, and an old guy came in, very straight, you said, sort of RAF type, the moustache, everything, and he wanted to be ridden around. And you were then invited to do the same, and you did this.
Well, yeah, I couldn't really back out at that stage. I couldn't be faint-hearted once having got myself that far. So I joined in some of the fun and games, but really only as an outsider.
No, I believe you, honestly, Allegra. I don't think...
Well, you can't just stand around,
of course,
can you?
No. What were you dressed in at this time?
Nifty little corset arrangement.
I see.
Lace-up boots.
Were you shaking the whole time, or were you quite enjoying it?
I have to confess that it was quite fun, and it was an adventure. It's not something the average granny gets to do.
The average granny? You're not an average granny by any means, I wouldn't have thought, to do this. It's not a story you'll tell your grandchildren about when you're...
Absolutely, I'm proud of it.
You will?
Of course.
Yeah. When this guy came in and he wanted to be beaten in this particular story, and there are many more in the book, how did you feel? Were you concerned that this guy might actually be hurt?
Well, to start with, I was alarmed because it looks quite violent what's going on. But in fact, I think it's very carefully choreographed. It's rather like all-in wrestling in that it's pretty safe. Everybody knows what the password is when it's time to quit, and that's decided on ahead of time. Fantasies are acted out, but it's within limits and boundaries. The women are very experienced. The men come for a particular fantasy to be enacted. When it's over, you know, everybody has a cup of tea and they go home.
And there was a girl that turned up and her speciality was to be spanked, but only on her bottom. And you were concerned about that?
I did ask her, you know, how she could bear it, and she said, well, you know, I like it. She was into masochism anyway, so it was a good way of earning a living and getting her kicks too.
She wasn't hurt when she went?
No, she looked a bit bruised, but it wasn't anything she couldn't handle. OK, now, on the line is a call from Nikki, who's from the English Collective of Prostitutes. Is that right, Nikki?
Yes, that's right.
Hi, welcome to the programme. Why do you think, is there a generalisation or not, but why do women become prostitutes?
Well, women have gone the game for the money. I mean, we have a figure that we estimate that about 70% of prostitute women are mothers, mostly single mothers, which really, you know, tells the story why women are on the game.
So you think most of them do it because they need money?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, the UN actually has a figure that says that women do 2/3 of the world's work for 5% of the income and 1% of the assets.
Yeah,
and
so
that really shows what women's situation is worldwide.
It's OK, that was Trevor just moving into shot and getting into his seat there. Do you think that if people had better resources, i.e. they had better family income supplements, stuff like that for single parents, do you think there would be no prostitutes at all?
Well, that's definitely what well, that's one of the things that we're campaigning for. Along with the abolition of the prostitution laws, we're definitely campaigning for, you know, more resources for women.
Yeah, but let me get this straight, Nikki. What you're saying then is that women basically would only become prostitutes because they need money. And I've just been talking to one lady who says, no, she does it because she enjoys it and because she thinks she fulfills a necessity.
I think if you ask most prostitute women, what women would say about their jobs is what women say about their jobs generally, that there may be some bits that they like, there may be some bits that they hate, but if they weren't being paid for it, they wouldn't be there. And, you know, that's probably exactly the same answer that you'd get if you asked a woman who was working in a factory.
Yeah, but surely the same...
prostitution is a better job in some cases. I mean, it's
I'm sure it is. The same argument could be used for people who want to go out and steal and say, oh, well, you know, we don't make enough money, so we've got to go out and rob, surely.
Yeah, but the point has already been made that prostitution is consensual. It's not, you know... I mean, it's a job like any other. OK,
Nikki, thank you for your call. Trevor, welcome to the programme. We saw your elbow and back rather nicely earlier on. Trevor is a male prostitute.
No, I'm not. I'm a male escort.
Sorry, you're a male escort. But your business cards have the rather nifty little title of Dial a Dick. Don't need to sit there with your hands like that. You get a long shot of keeping it warm. Are you're a male escort, not a male prostitute. No. What is the difference?
An escort is a person that accompanies a person as an act of courtesy on a journey or a function. I don't sell sex.
You don't?
No, I don't sell sex.
I mean, I don't know why we've got you on here, really, then. So all these stories that I've been reading about you, women paying for your services, are wrong, are they?
No, they pay for my services, but sex occurs.
Oh, sex... Oh, now let me just get this straight in my mind.
I don't sell sex, I'll give it.
You go out and charge the woman for a night out.
Yeah.
If she wants sex, that's thrown in.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of my stuff I do are fantasies, like someone will ring up and they say they want me a debt collector. And I go around and I say hello, I'm a debt collector, Rob Edwards, blah, blah, up in Lichfield, you know, you owe £400 to Lorraine, will you pay it, please? And they say, I haven't got the money, so what we do, then, you know, they work it off.
Yeah, they work it off.
Yeah.
I see. OK. Do you enjoy being with every one of these women, or is it a job? I mean, is there some fun there?
I enjoy it. I do enjoy what I do, but I get more... I actually feel I'm a therapist.
Yeah.
Although, you know, a lot of these women that I see are... They're not looking for sex, they're looking for the things that their husbands don't give them, like telling them how nice they are, taking them out, opening doors for them. Their husbands all day, they're out working in suits, they come home, and they've just got no time for their wives.
Now, who is it that handles your business affairs?
My girlfriend.
Your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Now, your girlfriend was going to come on, but she's got a little shy. She doesn't want to come on and talk about it tonight, because she appeared on TV before, I believe, and her family got a bit upset.
Yeah.
So she's not going to come on and talk about it.
No, right.
OK. But she's quite happy for you to go out with these other women.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You see, I mean, I wonder now...
Well, she's not totally happy about it.
She's not totally happy?
No, she doesn't mind me going out to dinner with them, but she doesn't like when I have to tap them in.
So how do you pay tax on this?
Pardon?
Well, I read you earn about £3,000 a week. You are paying tax,
between
I hope.
£1,500 and £3,000 a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pay tax.
Good, that's fine. No, that's good. Yeah. So sex doesn't always occur.
No.
But a sexual fantasy pretty well nearly always occurs.
9 times out of 10, yeah.
I see. What do you, Allegra, have you any interest in anything you would like to ask Trevor or not?
I think Trevor's job throws up a very interesting point in that people always imagine that it's men who are the buyers and women who are the sellers of sex. And the fact that Trevor is, you know, a very busy man means that it's not the case. You know, a lot of women have sexual fantasies. A lot of women are interested in buying sex, paying for unemotional sex, something that they can just, you know...
He seems to charge more than the girls, actually.
No, I charge about the same.
I think it's about the same.
£100 an hour.
£100 an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested, actually, Trevor, to know, I mean, the basic difference between men and women is men have to get an erection, of course, and a woman doesn't. I mean, if you don't fancy this woman, and she's paying you £100 an hour...
Yeah, but she's not buying my time for sex.
You can't get it up, and that's what she wants. I mean, surely there's going to be a little aggravation.
Well, no, not really, because she's not buying my time for sex.
Yeah.
Sex occurs. It's like a 1 hour relationship. And, you know, if at the end of it we both fancy, then we do it.
Yeah.
But she's not buying my time to have sex.
Yeah. I'd love to go and talk to your young lady out there. But I mean, do you not give him a slap or something or not? You can yell from over there, it's OK. You don't give him a slap, no? I think we'll fix it afterwards. Thank you both very much indeed for the moment. Sit there, we're going to take some calls. Vote line update. Can we get the numbers of the vote line on the screen? We want to know whether or not you're opposed to having a brothel set up next to you. These coming up are the numbers to ring. If you would like a brothel next door, Allegra and I have said yes, of course. And Trevor doesn't mind either. 0898 442 611 is yes. 0898 442 622 is no. Those are the amounts of the people who phoned in. Almost 2,000 have phoned in now to say they would like to have a brothel next door to them, so we might as well legalise it. I mean, and 1,000 people have rung in, usually from places like Surrey and Sussex, to say no, they wouldn't like to have a brothel next door to them. And I would take some calls if I had some, but of course nobody's bothered to give me any calls. So just before we do that, I beg your pardon? Oh, Heather, right. Heather, hello. Sorry about that, Heather.
Thank you very much.
That's all right, Heather. Lovely to have you on the programme. Are you a prostitute?
No.
No. Would you like... It's all right. I mean, it's just, isn't it, really? Would you
actually, I would like to be.
You'd like to be?
Absolutely.
You would? Why would you like to be?
Make lots of dosh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not enough sex, I suppose, in your life. Is that right or not?
I think sex is here or there.
Here or there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you sound a bit slow, actually. We'll get rid of you, Heather, to be a prostitute. I think you have to be on the ball to do this, don't you? You can't, you know, you've got to be aware of what's going on.
You can be quite a quiet, gentle person as well, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you'd be no good, Heather. OK, right. Ian from Manchester. Yes, Ian.
Hello, good morning, James.
Yes, Ian.
Hello. The point I'd like to make is I reckon that we should legalise prostitution, because I reckon it would make it a lot safer for the people that actually participate in this business. And let's get the point straight, it is a business.
Do you participate in it?
No, I don't actually, no. But I do have friends, some of my friends are actually prostitutes.
Yeah.
And I think that they should make it legal because it actually make it safer for the people also.
Okay, thanks Ian from Manchester. Thinks it should. One quick call before we have some music on the programme. Graham from Southampton. Graham.
Yes, good morning, James.
Hello, Graham. Now, in Southampton, they did actually try to legalise prostitution, didn't they?
Yes, they did have a good go at it, yes.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say, when you talk of prostitution, people normally think of females. I've no objection to making it legal, providing you make it equally legal for male prostitutes. I'm all for equality of the sexes.
You're talking about male prostitutes as in rent boys rather than what Trevor doesn't really do.
Equality of the sexes, yes.
Yeah.
Like with the age of consent, for
Well, I
example.
think that's what would hopefully be achieved, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed for that. We'll take some more calls, OK? We've got Laura, John, David and Gary hanging on. We'll try to get to you and lots more besides a little later. But now some music. And a new band. I don't think they've been on television before. Have they been on television before? They have been on television before. What? Not often. Not often, so you may not have seen them. They are great. This is wonderful. It's a band called Big Dish and Big Town. The big, do you mind? Not, please, could you just, thank you. The Big Dish, that's their new single. I think that's going to be pretty good. It's called Big Town. Now, this morning, this is Saturday, of course, the Daily Mirror, who very kindly supply us with the paper. There's a little story here on the same subject, really. Shamed Judge Tim Parkin yesterday lost his appeal against a curb-crawling conviction. The 43-year-old Crown Court recorder's claim he was innocently driving through a notorious red-light district was branded incredible when the appeal judge added, "We don't think he is a man of such colossal naivety that his version of events can be accepted." Apparently, when stopped by the police, he said, "I'm so glad that you've arrived. I just could not get this woman out of my car." So, all right, let's go on to the mail, shall we? Which I had here somewhere. And the address, of course, to write to on any subject, coming up on your screen any moment now. There we are. Put it up there. Billy Black says about the honours system we were talking about last week. Write in, of course. We have a break next week, so it gives you a couple of weeks to write in and tell us what you'd like to see on the show. Billy Black says about the honours system, it's very easy for somebody like Jimmy Savile to spend so much time working for charity. He really has nothing much else to do with his life. Jimmy wouldn't be pleased with that at all. BR in Bolton thinks that your guest last Friday, Dickie Bird, what a wimp. He sure loves himself. What has he done to deserve a medal? Changing the subject, Karen Mallon in Preston tells me her 5-month-old son David wakes her up for his feed when the programme's on. He gets very excited when he sees the whale with the headphones and starts trying to crawl to the telly. Can we put the whale with the headphones up or not? We can't. There. Yeah, where is it? Oh, there it is, over there. He'll be crawling to the telly now. I should be on daytime television at this rate, really, when you think about it. Mr. T. Anderson from Leicestershire thinks that each town should have a building made available for prostitutes to rent rooms and run their businesses from. I agree with him. Alan Sherbreck over in Gwynedd thinks that more should be done to help younger girls to stop them going onto the streets and selling themselves. Stuart Skilling in Glasgow blames it on the government for not giving enough money to those in need to pay for even the basics like food, etc. I think Stuart... really, that's an easy way out. And Alex Ward in London says, here's a few people I'd like to see on your show. Faith Brown, Kathy Lloyd, Ellie Lane, Twinkle and Linda Nolan. What do they all have in common, I wonder? OK, thank you very much indeed for that. More letters, of course, next week. You can write in, you know the address. Now, should we do the competition? I think we shall. We're going to give away the Wicked Willie, this one here. You know, this one that does that, OK? And the Wicked Willie video, which... what's this with this angle here, which we're giving away as the prize? We had loads of answers, and these were some of them. Wicked Willie competition, we said, what sort of honour should Wicked Willie have? Jane, who wishes to remain anonymous, and you'll see why, thinks that he doesn't need any honours as he's already a peer. Got it? Billy Black in Gateshead again thinks he should be awarded the BPB, the Blue Penis Badge. Leslie Lamp from Liverpool, along with quite a few others, reckons the only possible honour is the OPS. Order of the Pork Sword. John Mayhew in Kent thinks the OBE is valid for outstanding bonking efforts. And Valerie Tinsley in Bridlington and Drew Taylor in Windermere and a host of others think he should be knighted Lord of the Flies. Very good. But the winners are David Green in Nottingham, who thought Wicked Willie should get a knighthood for services to family planning. Doreen Brown from Newcastle suggests MOTH, Master of the Holes. And sort of play on Master of the Rolls. Got it? Okay. Scott Anderson in Nottingham wants to honour Willie, Knight of the... I'll do that again. He wants to honour Willie, Knight of the Gusset and Garter, whose motto is, I saw, I conquered, I came. Very good. Round of applause for the filthy people working here tonight. Good, OK, let's not go mad. Laura in London. Hello, Laura.
Hello.
Hello, Laura. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Good. What's your point?
Well, I am a prostitute, actually, and I just like to make the point that I think they should legalise brothels for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
You don't get exploited by, say, pimps and things like that, and you'd be able to have regular checkups and for, like, VD and AIDS and things.
Yeah. But I mean, do you have a pimp yourself or not?
No.
No?
No. And it'd take girls off the street, and the girls would be much safer, and neighbours wouldn't, you know?
One of the things in Scandinavia they found when they legalised prostitution in certain areas, in Amsterdam as well, I think, is that people didn't want to go because they found it too clinical. Do you think that would be a point or not?
Well, I suppose that is a point to make, but I think there's more advantages to that, really.
OK, thank you very much indeed, Laura from London. The vote line update, let's have the vote line update. It's, can we get it on the screen before we go in? OK, coming up, here we are, the vote line update and the numbers to ring if you'd like to vote. Would you agree to having a brothel next door to you? What about you lot? Would you all agree to? Yes? They've all been on the phone. 2,442 say yes, and 1,284 say absolutely no way. Those are the numbers. 0898 442611 for yes, and 0898 442622 for no. Right, I think time for a little more music. Do you think time for a little more music? I think it'd be... Would you like some music? OK, this is good. Gary Glale and Human Nature. OK, so I pronounced it wrong. It was what? Glale. Clayle. Gary Clayle. Like that. That's nice. I like that. That's sort of having a go at most of the bigotry in the world. Now, we're back here, final part of the programme. In the monitor here, you see, like most TV shows, we now have a live satellite link. Although, it's good, isn't it? You look at this, you didn't know. We've got a live satellite link here with a room just across there. And in there, we've got Liz and Steve. Can you hear us?
Certainly can, Jim.
You sure?
Yes.
I think smoking on television, Liz, even if you can't be seen, is a bit off, really. But that's much better.
Do you want me to dot it?
I beg your pardon?
Do you want me to dot it?
Whatever you like, dear, whatever you like.
Right.
Isabel, it's been a long time since we've spoken, right at the beginning of the programme. Have you heard anything tonight that interests you? Anything that you may include in next week's or next month's forum?
I think it's been very interesting about the fact that obviously both sexes go for both sorts of prostitution. We haven't heard anything about lesbian prostitution, for example. But
presumably there is such a thing. You're quite right.
I don't know, actually.
Yeah?
It must be. But one thing I do feel is that I think some women would, while they would go with what Trevor offers, which is
everything but sex, and that just happens.
I think there must still be some women who would like to feel that they've got an hour of someone's time, and whether it's spent with massage that might lead to sex, you know, that anything might happen. And if they want a long sexual experience with a long stare, then that would be on offer.
Yeah, I mean, you said to me earlier, if I remember, that you quite like to have used the facilities of a prostitute?
Before I was married, yes. I think it would have been wonderful. At lunchtime, it would have, you know, sparked me up for the afternoon. Definitely.
All right, Trevor? Still sitting there in that particular pose. Yeah, I mean, do you have, you know, you look quite tired. I don't know whether this is this the way work goes? Have you been working today?
It's been a hectic week, yeah.
Yeah? How many escorts have you had this week?
Only 5 this week.
Only 5?
Yeah.
Any lunchtime liaisons?
No, it's been evenings, all evenings.
Yeah. What about, somebody ever ask you to be involved in group sex or things like that?
Yeah, I've done that. My husband and wife phoned me up once to get involved with them.
Yeah.
And the husband wanted to watch, basically, while I had sex with his wife.
He liked watching?
Yeah.
Let me ask, Liz, you're listening to this. Have you ever been asked to sort of do it with somebody so one of their partners can watch?
Yeah, I've been approached by a man with his wife.
Yeah, do you agree?
I would have done it, but with today's attitudes.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you stick a condom on a clitoris?
Interesting point.
Yes, well, we'll just debate that after the programme. Yeah, Steve, you're in there as well. Steve, it's a shame that I couldn't get Trevor's girlfriend to come and talk, because I'd like to have got you two talking together, actually. Have you, anything you've heard tonight put you off the whole business? You know, talking about it clinically like this, has it perhaps put you off, Steve, having your wife working on the game?
No, it's not put me off, having my wife work on the... I mean, my wife was working on the game for nine years almost before I met her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like to think that, that the person that you've got on there at the moment, the male escort, I'd just like to understand what his girlfriend goes through. Has she ever been through the situation that I have, that she's had the police knocking on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning, saying that his wife's been raped? I mean, I've been through that situation twice, and for a man that doesn't actually understand the whole of the situation, it's a very difficult position to be in.
Yeah, you haven't.
She's never had nothing like that. No.
But presumably it's a little bit different. You can keep an eye on yourself.
A lot of my stuff, I go around to some girls and they say nothing sexual. You know, and I just go around and it's, you know.
Let's have this vote line update. I think final time of the programme tonight to see how the voting is going. I think we're up to about 3,000 odd. There we are, 3,000 odd in favour of having a brothel next door. I'm quite surprised there are 3,000 people up this time of night who want to have a brothel next door, and we've got just over 1,500 who don't. Those are the numbers. Keep ringing them. The phone lines will be open right up until just after the end of the programme. So all the way through. So keep ringing, and we'll mention the answer next week. Now, what are we doing now? Future events, that's right. We have got the week off next week, of course. It's a religious holiday, but 7 days will pass. We will then rise again, and some of the exciting things that you could look forward to on The Whale Show are here. All right, up there. Very good. Okay, well, that was the Whale on survival techniques, heavy metal music and Satanism, and also we have a look in the future at the fashion business. And if you want to get involved in any of those programs, let us know. Now, John from Harrogate. Hello, John.
Hi, James.
We have very little time left. Your point on prostitution tonight.
Well, it's an old-fashioned point, but I wonder whether sex for money is good for morale.
I think it's very good for morale myself. Sex for money, good for morale? Yeah, we all agree it is. Thank you, John. Of course, it doesn't happen in Harrogate. David in Leeds. Hello, David.
Hello, John.
Yes, David. Never mind, he's awake, asleep, probably. Mark from Newark. Hello, Mark, very quickly.
Prostitutes can actually be described as entrepreneurs making non-taxable sums of money, but when school...
That's a very good idea. Entrepreneurs making large amounts of money. That's a good place to finish. I hear the music coming on. We're all going off to discuss this a little further. Thank you very much indeed all for watching tonight. We're back in 2 weeks' time at 1 o'clock in the morning, which is April the 5th, if I'm not much mistaken, and we will be talking about heavy metal and Satanism. In the meantime, have a nice weekend. Thank you to Fellini. It was his last show for a few weeks tonight, and we thought he coped remarkably well, actually. I could tell you a little story about him and when we did the Prostitutes film, but I decided to keep it until next time. Have a nice weekend from all of us on The Whale Show. A very good night and a happy Easter. Bye-bye. It's pretty good, right?